Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching episode 6 of Marvel's What If. And for this time, we basically go back to both Iron Man and Black Panther when it comes to the question of what if Erik Killmonger ended up rescuing Tony Stark from the Ten Rings. Well, you would get a very dark and very different interpretation of various movies in the franchise, where Erik basically gets to pull off his manipulation skills to their highest possible extent. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story takes place during an event that occurs in the very first Iron Man movie, where Tony Stark does get attacked by the Ten Rings with his own weapons. Only here, Killmonger ends up rescuing Tony Stark, played once again by Michael B. Jordan, and he happens to scheme his way all the way to being able to use vibranium and Tony's technology to build himself up to become a well-respected figure in Wakanda, and eventually to gain the power of the next Black Panther. Sort of like how he managed to get to the power of the Black Panther in the first Black Panther movie. But that's all I'll say about the story. The story here actually really does work well, considering it makes use of one of Marvel's best overall villains, Erik Killmonger, and it manages to make use of his intelligence as well as his ruthlessness. We all know about his plan in the original film to liberate his brothers and sisters from oppression, essentially by causing more human suffering, because he thinks that's the only way to get what he calls justice. And he's like that here too, but he also does a lot of great scheming and manipulation, and ends up getting people like Tony Stark to trust him. And we've seen in the movies before that Tony can end up trusting the wrong people, and he can be irresponsible despite the fact that he's a friggin' genius. So I really think it does work there. It also works considering that Andy Serkis also comes back as Ulysses Klaue, and he's funny as usual, just like he was in Age of Ultron and Black Panther. On top of that, the action scenes are pretty well done, even when in one scene that's in the dark. Well, both major action scenes in this episode are in the dark, but yet they look so cool and stylized when they're in the dark that I almost thought I was watching an episode of Love, Death, and Robots at one point. But let's be honest, that's part of the fun. Well, if anything, I think the war rhinos in Wakanda looked better in animation than they did in CG in the Black Panther movie. I guess that's one of the benefits that comes with this show being animated. On top of that, the episode also kind of ends on a cliffhanger involving both Pepper Potts and Shuri. That makes me think maybe they'll revisit this episode later down the line, considering they've said they're going to bring all these episodes together. And with 6 episodes that tell wildly different stories within the Marvel Universe that have at least 6 different alternate timelines, it does make me wonder how they're going to bring everything together for the series finale. Well, the season finale. There's already a season 2 announced. But for the most part, I think this episode mainly works just because Michael B. Jordan knows how to sell the character. He's being able to play to his full potential here. And the fact that everyone in the cast, whether they're from the movies or whether, like McWingert, they're just copying famous performances, they happen to do their roles really, really well. I don't think it's quite up there with Doctor Strange's episode, but I think it's the second best so far. That's why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. See you next time.